The Eagle Has Landed, by Jack Higgins, is a classic thriller that weaves a fictional narrative around a real historical backdrop during World War II. The novel centers on a daring and audacious plan by the Nazis to kidnap or assassinate British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, and it unfolds through the perspectives of multiple characters, both Allied and Axis. The story opens with an introduction from the author, who claims to have stumbled upon evidence of the operation while researching in a small English village. This framing device lends an air of authenticity to the narrative, blurring the lines between fiction and historical fact. The plot begins in Berlin, where German intelligence officer Colonel Max Radl learns of a reckless suggestion from Hitler to kidnap Churchill. Though initially dismissed as impractical, Radl, intrigued by the challenge, begins to contemplate the operation's feasibility. He proposes the idea to Admiral Wilhelm Canaris, head of the Abwehr, German military intelligence, who in turn mentions it to Heinrich Himmler. Himmler, eager for glory, greenlights the operation under the codename Eagle, thus setting the plan in motion. Radl, a pragmatic and professional officer, recruits an unlikely group of individuals to carry out the mission. The key figure is Colonel Kurt Steiner, a highly decorated but disillusioned paratrooper. Steiner, along with his unit, has been in disgrace for defying orders and rescuing a Jewish girl from execution. Steiner's men, loyal to him and sharing his disillusionment with the Nazi regime, are the perfect candidates for a mission that requires both skill and a willingness to defy convention. Steiner's unit, disguised as Polish paratroopers, is to be parachuted into the small English village of Studley Constable, where Churchill is scheduled to visit. The village is a perfect location for such a plan, being isolated and sparsely populated. Radl also enlists the help of Liam Devlin, a charismatic Irish nationalist and IRA operative, who will pose as a writer and prepare the ground in the village. As the team prepares, they face various challenges. Steiner's group must learn to speak English and adopt Polish personas, while Devlin integrates himself into the village community, developing a romance with a local woman, Molly Pryor, to help cover his true intentions. The narrative tension builds as the date of Churchill's visit approaches, and the characters' motivations and backgrounds are fleshed out, giving depth to the story. The climax of the novel occurs when the operation is compromised. Steiner and his men, who are billeted in the village disguised as Polish soldiers, are accidentally revealed when one of his men drowns while saving a child from a watermill, exposing the German uniforms beneath the Polish ones. The villagers, including a local woman named Joanna Gray who sympathizes with the Nazis, are shocked and frightened. The village's telephone and other communications are cut, isolating it from the outside world, and the British forces are alerted. Steiner, now aware that their cover is blown, decides to proceed with the mission, believing that they have come too far to turn back. He and his men fortify the church in the village, preparing for the arrival of Churchill. However, a British commando unit, led by Colonel Pitts and supported by the local Home Guard, quickly arrives to counter the threat. In the ensuing battle, Steiner's men hold the ground despite being outnumbered and outgunned. The story reaches its peak as Steiner himself, driven by a complex mixture of duty, honor, and fatalism, makes a desperate attempt to complete the mission. Devlin, whose motivations have been more about fighting the British establishment than supporting the Nazis, manages to escape the chaos, leaving behind a complex legacy. The mission ultimately fails, as Churchill, who turns out to be a decoy, never actually comes to the village. The real Churchill had been warned and diverted thanks to the efforts of the British intelligence. Most of Steiner's men are killed, including Steiner himself, who dies in a final, dramatic confrontation. The Eagle Has Landed concludes with reflections on the nature of war, heroism, and the moral complexities faced by individuals caught up in the tides of history. Radl, who orchestrated the operation, is executed by the Nazis for his failure. Devlin, a survivor, continues his fight against British rule in Ireland, while Molly Pryor, who had fallen in love with him, is left to ponder the enigmatic man who briefly entered her life. Jack Higgins' novel is notable for its rich characterizations and moral ambiguity. While the plot revolves around a Nazi plot, the characters are portrayed with depth and humanity, particularly Steiner and Radl, who are depicted as professionals disillusioned with the Nazi cause. The novel also explores themes of loyalty, honor, and the futility of war, making it not just a thrilling adventure story but also a thoughtful commentary on the nature of conflict and the human condition. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for other interesting book summaries to spice up your reading list.